The Rockford Files won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about Hot to Trot. Yeah, baby.
Yep. You know, my favorite part of this movie was when Bobcat Goldthwait became Hot to Trot.
Oh, baby. Oh, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Worst montage that I think I've ever seen. It was cringy.
Oh, when he was becoming rich?
When he got put his hair in the ponytail and started wearing the suit and couldn't stop dancing.
Poor little Gilbert Gottfried. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Poor little Bobcat Goldthwait, man. I love Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
I was a fan of his from the beginning, watching him do stand-up.
Yeah.
I actually got to see him perform stand-up. It was after this. I think it was in the 90s. Maybe late 80s. It was, he was still kind of doing he was getting out of the shtick, the afflicted shtick. And I told you this. For the encore of his show, he did the most amazing impersonation of Bono from U2, as opposed to all the other Bonos out there.
Right.
The voice and then the singing, he did Still Can't, what is it?
With or Without You?
No.
Still Can't Find What I'm Looking For or whatever?
Yeah.
Something like that? I don't know.
It's been a while since I've listened to U2.
I missed the U2 train when I was growing up.
Anyway, because I had not seen much of him doing the bit.
Right.
Because he lived that. Could you imagine living that bit for so many years?
I mean, Gilbert Gottfried did the same thing.
But Gilbert, there was just like this physicality to Goldthwait with his eyes and he really looked, It must have been exhausting.
Not a visual medium, Jim.
I know. But you could see. You could explain to the audience. But Gottfried was just a voice, He just did this thing.
But I'm just saying it's doing a character.
Of course. But Bobcat's character was all-encompassing. It was physical as well as it wasn't just a voice. He wasn't doing Gottfried or Larry the Cable Guy, who's California.
He didn't even do anything. He just changed his name.
Who also did voice because he was not Southern.
Yeah.
He was
what?
Sorry to burst your bub. I know he's your fave. But anyway, and then later in my life, when I was a independent filmmaker, my producing partner and I had a bunch of films in Cinevegas, and we went to Cinevegas, and he was there with his second feature.
Okay.
Not the...
not Shakes the Clown.
Not Shakes the Clown, not the one about the woman with the dog, the German Shepherd.
World's Greatest Dad?
I think it might have been World's Greatest Dad. I don't know. I love that movie so much. But he was there, and we had this director's suite, which was this crazy giant suite that all of the directors could go and commingle and get snacks and drinks. Mm-hmm. There was like a shower with a window into it, and it was pure Vegas.
Right.
Nobody was like showering while we watched. It wasn't.
You did though. You were like, well, it's there. I have to.
Honestly, our partner Kent, we were all walking around Cinevegas, promoting our stuff. I was wearing this. The silver leopard skin, flashy suit, and like a pink shirt, and Kent was in a prom dress. And Kent, in his prom dress, he got up on the pole and started working it. Really good job, actually, for Kent. People loved it. But anyway, so I met Bobcat and talked to him for a while, and I shook his hand, and he had the softest, most delicate hands I have ever touched in my life. It was like touching a baby's bottom. I don't know. I don't touch a lot of baby's bottoms because of the restraining order,
the court order.
yeah, exactly. But nicest guy, and he fascinates me. The guy fascinates me because he started out as a schlubby weirdo.
Yeah.
That was just doing the shtick. He was in the crappiest movies. The Police Academy sequels. He just kept showing up, being this chubby little weirdo.
It got him parts, yeah.
I'm not saying that he wasn't entertaining. I'm just saying that going from that to one of, in my opinion, the greatest independent filmmakers, comedic filmmakers of all time, is just those types of career arcs fascinate me.
Yeah.
Like, I love to see people like Stephen King. Like Steve Martin, that guy constantly reinvented himself. And I think Bobcat, too, is a really smart guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he also knew the writing on the wall. And he's like, look.
Well, there's only so far that shtick's going to go.
Yeah, he knew being a chubby little guy with the weird affectation he's putting on.
Yeah, yeah.
He's not going to get a lot of leading man parts.
No, he got one. And we're talking about it right now.
Yeah, exactly. And, oof. But I will have to say, look, this is our June Doom month. We're doing bombs.
Yeah,
doing box office dooms.
The movies you watch during the apocalypse because they'll make you feel better.
The movies that bring on the apocalypse because you just want it all to end. This is so much better than Under the Rainbow.
Oh, my God. Leaps and bounds.
Under the Rainbow, like we said, its biggest crime was being boring.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie was boring. It's funny because at the beginning you're like...
There were definitely parts of it that I was like, okay. But it grew on me as we watched it.
It's a bizarre movie.
The whole thing is so weird. Every choice in it is so weird.
So weird. And it's like... The middle part is so long. And you made an incredible point yesterday that completely changed everything for me. And it was so apt. You said that this was basically 3 episodes of a really bad sitcom.
Yeah.
Back to back.
I mean, literally, think of the log line. It's literally a talking horse and a guy down on his luck, and the talking horse helps him become successful.
It was the 80s version of Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
And we got to watch 3 episodes because it went from lovable schlub, to... He never really turned into a complete a-hole, which I will give them credit for.
No. He definitely
had moments.
Looked like he was going to be that, but then he didn't.
I mean, he was like to Virginia Madsen, all right, babe, I can't right now, babe.
Yeah, because he thought that's that she would want, because in his mind, this is what successful people do.
Exactly. And then and here's the thing, too. I don't know what the director's obsession with prosthetics and wigs.
Yeah, accessories.
Accessories, thank you. Dabney Coleman.
Why? Because they wanted him to be more horse-like.
I guess.
That's it. That's all. That's all.
The teeth and the glasses. And God love him, Dabney Coleman is always perfect. I mean,
he's so good.
Never misses a beat.
He's so good.
And Tim Kazurinsky with that hair and those tiny little glasses.
God, and I felt bad. Like he must have shot all his scenes in one day.
Well, and it was also very, very similar to Rick Moranis' character in Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially Ghostbusters 2 with the... when they gave him the cartoon hair and the cartoon glasses.
I'm going to say that Tim Kazurinsky in this was a little more gay.
Well... Yes, but he was like the border, maybe gay, but maybe just snooty and really like...
I think it's the 80s. Yeah, the 80s kind of snooty. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, regardless, it doesn't matter.
Was all there was a lot of ambivalent gay characters back then that were maybe gay. But it is fascinating to me that this movie was made. And it is...
Just so many awful choices.
But I look, man.
I still like this movie.
I kind
That's
of do
the weird
too.
thing about it is I still like this movie.
I enjoyed myself. And I think it was because all of the actors, all of them, just didn't give an F. And and they did their best. I mean, they did not. Nobody was phoning it in.
It's pretty bad when half your cast afterwards goes, yeah, we just did this for the money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do it for? Artistic pride?
Hey, it's a talking horse. It's good. It's a good, it's a good caveat.
Oh, man. And I can't imagine how horrible this movie... And I love him as an actor. But if Gould...
Elliot
Gould was the... Oh, my God, it would have been a slog.
Well, yeah. We'll get to it. We'll talk about that.
But John Candy was great, as always. It's always fun to hear him or see him. Just made me miss him again. Bobcat Goldthwait was funny and engaging, and he worked. Dabney Coleman was great. Virginia Madsen was great.
I think all the acting was very good.
Yeah. It's just bizarre. This movie just confounds me.
It's really amazing. I think it's hard for us to understand how much actual real talent there was in the 80s.
Yeah.
That the only thing that there wasn't a lot of talent with was writing, apparently. Because they just couldn't figure out how to make this stuff work with really, really talented actors.
Well, here's the deal, right? So Yeah, you had a ton of really talented cats back then, and a lot of comedians that were just coming out and becoming big. Like Bobcat, like Bobcat, Steve Martin. He was already established, but he was in the middle of his great stuff. You had all these guys, but comedies back then, a lot of the comedies were just this formulaic garbage. Which was like, and we've talked about this before, it's like they spin a wheel, and it's like, tick, 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 talking horse, tick, 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 stock tips. Stock tip, by the way.
Well, I thought there were two.
There were two. Technically, there were three. The third one that ruined him.
Right.
But he should have known.
That wasn't Don getting it from. He was just really liked the oats.
Yes. But I don't know where the coffee one came from either. That was a little vague.
Well, this is how the maxim "Don't trust a talking horse" comes from, because they just he's still a horse.
Don't look a talking gift horse in the mouth. So the convoluted craziness of this is that instead of just like a talking horse and they do a race or whatever, it's a talking horse that's in the stable next to a stable where Wall Street guys come with their mistresses to F.
Yeah.
And he hears them talking about insider trading.
Right.
Like a lot of illegal stuff going on there with the effing.
Yeah, well, yes.
Not that the effing's illegal, but the insider trading.
It's morally bankrupt, but yeah.
So that in itself is a ridiculous premise. I just don't know how. Like most movies I can kind of see A to B to C.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you get... How?
There was a point about an hour into this movie when Jim goes, "Oh, look, the plot finally started."
Yeah, well, it's true. It's just kind of meanders.
It really does.
But it falls into the category of these harmless, funny, dumb 80s movies.
Yeah, it was so incredibly dumb.
Oh my God.
But fun.
But it has all of the tropes of these types of movies, which are casual racism. You have a dopey star who put upon every man who always losing, and then you have the maniacal bad guy and his crazy mistress, and they all just check the boxes. It's like, okay, here's everything you need in this crazy convoluted script.
Right.
Go, and then we'll find some comedian to shoehorn into it, and we'll hocus pocus and make it more in line with his sensibilities. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. But this, upon watching it again, kind of works. Right?
Yeah. It's not good. I mean, it's definitely not good.
No. But I laughed.
It definitely had its moments. Yeah. And I didn't walk out of it like under the rainbow going, man, that was boring. Yeah. Like it was entertaining enough.
Under the Rainbow pissed me off. Under the Rainbow, there's movies that anger me when they take such great talent and such a great premise and screw it up so royally.
Right.
And like you said, the biggest sin of that is making a boring film.
Yeah.
Especially with all those components. But yeah, man, I don't know. This really surprised me.
Yeah, same.
In a really weird kind of fun way. It's like, all right, maybe the world isn't an awful place. Maybe there are some good surprises here and again.
It's really funny because this is one of those movies that was on all the time, because it was cheap.
Yep.
And so it was on pay TV, like Cinemax and Showtime and stuff,
yep.
like all the time. The only thing I really remembered from this movie was when they were at the racetrack and everyone going, Dawn? And then cutting away and then having a whole crowd, Dawn? Like, that was the only thing I remember from this movie.
There was just so much convoluted bullshit and so many, like Can't Buy Me Love and all these movies where they have these manufactured characters and scenes just to make the plot go forward.
Yeah.
Like the guy, the wine connoisseur, so he can ruin the thing. And it's like, with this, it's you got Tim Kazurinsky as Leonard, who's going to, he's going to be on him about the animals.
Yeah.
And, you got Cindy Pickett. It's just crazy to me that after like 30 years of thinking this was the worst movie ever made, it's not.
Yeah, I know.
Not the best.
It is.
That's for sure.
It's also full of people who somehow are okay with talking horses. They accept it very quickly and just kind of like, okay.
Well, either they just accept it really quickly, or they like scream and run like mad people.
That was a really funny scene.
Well, anyway, let's get into it.
All right. Take yourself back to 1988.
Oh, yeah.
August 11th, a meeting of Islamic jihadi leaders, including Osama bin Laden, takes place, leading to the founding of Al-Qaeda. August 20th, a ceasefire effectively ends the Iran-Iraq war with an estimated 1 million lives lost.
Crazy. I see what you're doing here, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Disasters.
Yeah. August 21st, a 6.9 earthquake shakes the Nepal-India border, leaving upwards of 1,450 people killed and thousands injured.
Oh, my God. That was so awful because the construction was so shoddy.
Yeah.
In parts that it just crumbled.
Yeah. On August 26th, Hot to Trot is released in theaters.
I
will say he lip syncs very well.
He wasn't lip syncing at him.
Oh, right.
He does really great musical impersonations.
Right.
He's playing the piano.
Yeah, I believe that. So Hot to Trot starts with Hugo Gilbert, and I'm not kidding, Stephen Nair. Yeah, Neighher, like horse. Stephen Nair started writing for sitcoms in 1978 with one episode of The Waverly Wonders starring Joe Namath as a former pro basketball player who now teaches history and coaches high school basketball.
I don't understand why Joe Namath ever got a career as an actor. I know he did those commercials where he wore pantyhose and everybody was like, oh my God, he's wearing pantyhose. He was such a bad actor.
I don't understand why they would have Joe Namath, a very famous football player, in a sitcom playing a basketball player.
Showing his range, Adams.
Yeah, sure. Well, the range was that it would last less than one season. He would go on to write, Stephen Nair, one episode of Working Stiff starring Jim Belushi and Michael Keaton.
I remember that.
Also last less than one season.
Oh, that was bad.
No idea the show existed, and I'm kind of curious.
I totally remember that show.
He wrote 3 episodes of The Ropers, the Three's Company spinoff.
Oh, that was so much fun.
He wrote 1 episode of Barney Miller, 1 episode of The Facts of Life, 5 episodes of It Takes Two, a family sitcom starring Richard Crenna and Patty Duke.
I remember that.
I didn't know that existed either. 2 episodes of Brothers in 1984 starring Robert Walden, Paul Regina, and Brandon Maggart. This is the log line. When their youngest brother comes out as gay, 2 conservative men support him and help him navigate being openly gay in 1980s Philadelphia.
Holy shit, that's super progressive.
Yeah.
No wonder it didn't last.
No, it did not. He also wrote 3 episodes of The Jeffersons late into its 11-season run. 2 episodes of Detective in the House starring Judd Hirsch, which is also, I went down a weird rabbit hole with that.
Was he like a house detective in a...
It was his kid or something. Yeah, like he was... I don't remember. Anyway.
Judd Hirsch did a lot of shows.
He did. And he wrote 2 episodes of Tough Cookies starring Robbie Benson.
Robbie Benson, the antithesis of what a tough cookie is. Although I will have to say, Robbie Benson was amazing in season 2 of Severance.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to see him back.
Yeah.
Nice to see Robbie Benson.
Hugo Gilbert has exactly 1 credit, which is Hot to Trot, so it's not a stretch to assume he came to Stephen Nair and pitched him this idea.
Yeah. Nobody's asking for the Hot to Trot guy.
No. Gilbert and Nair wrote the initial script for Hot to Trot, but rewrites were done by Charlie Peters. Peters was a playwright who had his first screenplay produced in 1981, Paternity, based on his stage play. It starred Burt Reynolds.
Not a good movie. This was a weird era for Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
He did all of these kind of bad comedies that everybody was looking forward to, like Best Friends with Goldie Hawn. Which was just bad movies.
Yeah.
And this was bad. It was like this dude, like a womanizer who decides he wants to be a father because he's going to die and he needs a...
He just wants essentially a receptacle to carry his baby.
So it's just him looking for an old sweat sock.
A womb. Yeah, he just wants a womb, that's all.
A womb with a view.
His second film in 1982 was Kiss Me Goodbye, a romantic comedy remake of a 1976 Brazilian film. It starred Sally Field, James Caan, and Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, James Caan might be a ghost in this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
I think he's like the ghost of Sally Field's husband, and Jeff Bridges is the new guy, and there's hilarity ensues, if I remember correctly.
Okay. I did not look, so I have no idea.
I could be totally wrong. By the way, I was completely wrong of Dream a Little Dream. It wasn't Hume Cronin and the other guy from Cocoon. It was Jason Robards.
Oh, yeah.
And I think only Jason Robards and Corey Feldman did the switcheroo double do. I don't think Haim was a switcheroo, but he had a cane for some reason.
Well, I'm calling the reference police, and now you're going to go to reference jail.
Damn it! I'm a third-time offender.
1984 brought his third credit, Blame It on Rio, directed by Stanley Donen, starring Michael Caine and Valerie Harper, but perhaps best known for featuring a topless Demi Moore and Michelle Johnson.
Have you seen this movie?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Pretty sure I remember topless Demi Moore and Michelle Johnson.
I saw this movie in the theater. So the premise of this movie is Michael Caine,
Yeah.
and Joe Bologna are best pals.
Okay.
And Demi Moore and Betsy Johnson?
Michelle Johnson.
Michelle Johnson are best friends.
Right.
They're daughters. They go on vacation.
Right.
Michael Caine has an affair with Joe Bologna's daughter,
Oh.
and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And,
Was it Michelle Johnson? Was that Joe Bologna's daughter?
yeah.
Yeah, she was only 17 when she made this movie.
Oh, yeah. And there's, like, nudity.
Yeah,
and
she had to have a judge sign a waiver so that the directors didn't get arrested.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
This whole movie, it was such a weird time back then, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It was so gross. And if I remember correctly, like, he didn't really want to. She was the pursuer, the aggressor,
Yeah.
which is even worse.
Right.
You know, and then Demi Moore gets all mad at him, and this is pre-boob job Demi Moore, and it's just like,
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, one critic said about Blame It on Rio,
One of the worst movies ever made, and definitely the most banal piece of rubbish to have Michael Caine's name on the credits. And he's had quite a few bombs to his credit.
yeah, that's mean.
Well, Jesus, man, he was in Jaws 4: The Revenge.
Yes.
Quite possibly the worst movie ever made.
He had a string of bad career choices.
Well, have you ever read his book?
No.
Okay. It's an amazing book, by the way. Even if you're not an actor, it's a great book to read.
Right.
But one of the chapters is about picking roles. And famously,
Right.
the way he picked a role wasn't the part. He didn't give a shit what the part was.
Yeah.
Where's it shooting?
Yeah.
Oh, so I can go to the Bahamas for 3 months and shoot Jaws the Revenge and get paid for it. Have a vacation with my family. Awesome. So
yeah, we talked about this before in one of our episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like because I think he was in Italy shooting something because he was like, I wanted to see Rome.
Exactly.
It was like, all right.
I totally respect because you're probably one of the best actors in the world.
Oh,
and you
yeah,
can just shoot up and get your Oscar or whatever whenever you want.
Right.
But why not? Why not just take the money?
Yeah.
Easy roles. Jaws the Revenge, you just got to sit on the beach all the time. And then do, whatever. I'll get on the boat. I respect that. You got to read his acting book. It's amazing.
All right. The producers then searched for a director for Hot to Trot, and from the success of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, they pursued Tim Burton.
Oh, man. I would have loved to see Tim Burton's Hot to Trot.
Burton declined, feeling that the script was so poor and unimaginative that he felt somewhat insulted by the idea that he would be interested in doing it.
Why would you think I would be interested in doing this? I'm really insulted. I'm going to really write a movie.
I don't know what he would... I would love to have seen a Tim Burton Hot to Trot, but I don't know what he would have done with it.
It's too mainstream. I mean, he would have had to completely redo it, especially back then, when he was doing Edward Scissorhands. I mean, this was the main part of his, goofiness before he did, he did Frankenweenie. He hadn't done Beetlejuice yet, had he?
No, I think that was 89.
Right.
Either 87 or 89. But I know that Big Top Pee-wee came out in 88.
Yeah.
The same year that this came out.
But he did the original Pee-wee too, didn't he?
Yeah, in 85.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I can't see him, especially this story, making it anything, It's
No. I don't know why he would be interested at all. I mean, I would never look at this and go, yeah, Tim Burton would love this.
It was like he and a talking horse going to a magical land, maybe. I don't know.
So the production team turned to Michael Dinner. Dinner started his career as a singer-songwriter, releasing 2 albums and 4 singles in the mid-'70s.
Nice. Guess who's coming for dinner?
His first Hollywood
That was his first album.
Okay. His first Hollywood job was writing and directing an episode of American Playhouse, an adaptation of Miss Lonely Hearts by Nathaniel West.
Oh, okay.
Which I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah.
Dinner's first directorial feature was Heaven Help Us in 1985, starring...
Andrew McCarthy, Mary Stuart Masterson, Kevin Dillon, Malcolm Denare, Patrick Dempsey in his film debut, and Stephen Jeffries as the group of Brooklyn teenagers with Jay Patterson, Wallace Shawn, John Hurd, and Donald Sutherland.
It didn't do terribly well and received mixed reviews from the critics.
I enjoyed it. Our friend Bill, that's one of his favorite movies because he went to a Jesuit school.
Yeah.
But it was a very fun little microcosm of like a New York Jesuit school in the 50s or 60s.
Sure.
A lot of masturbation jokes.
Yeah.
The guy from Fright Night. The weird little guy.
Okay.
He was like the chronic masturbator in the movie. He was just jacking it all the time.
Wow.
But yeah, look, it was a fun little film. We'll probably cover it.
Okay.
I would recommend it.
In 1986, Dinner directed Offbeat, starring Judge Reinhold, Meg Tilly, Clement Derricks, and Harvey Keitel. The movie wasn't marketed properly, but Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 stars and called it the year's best comedy.
Makes me want to watch it. I remember it.
I've never seen this.
I think Judge Reinhold plays a beat cop.
I think that he pretends to be a cop.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think he gets caught up in something. Harvey Keitel might be a bad guy.
Yeah, something like that. It's definitely like, but the fact that Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 stars, that makes me more interested.
Well, and also, to us, Judge Reinhold is one of the most underrated comedic actors of his generation.
Yeah. So Bobcat Goldthwait was cast as Fred P. Cheney. Funny enough, the character Fred P. Cheney was originally going to be played by Joan Rivers.
Can we talk?
Rivers pulled out because she was given her own nighttime talk show, the first ever hosted by a woman.
Yeah, it cost her, baby.
Oh my God, it cost her everything.
Everything. That's how misogynistic this town is.
I went on a weird rabbit hole with Joan Rivers, had no idea. She apparently argued the show started and it only ran for like 4 months. Apparently, she argued with the executive producers, so they essentially fired her, and her husband was a producer on the show.
Yeah, Edgar.
And then because of that, he got super depressed, and then like 3 months later, he killed himself.
Yeah, her husband
like it was
killed
so
himself.
messed up.
This show cost her everything.
Literally everything's fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
She famously was Johnny Carson's favorite fill-in.
Yes.
Carson would go on vacation. He had tons. Burt Reynolds would fill in. All these people. They would have celebrity people fill in. I think Jimmy Kimmel does that now. Somebody does that. They ripped it off from Johnny Carson. But so she was the best of his.
Yeah, he was kind of he had made her kind of like, you're going to be the next person whenever I retire.
Yeah, he loved her. They had a very good friendship.
Yeah.
She was on the show all the time. And she made the quoties mistake of not talking to him before accepting the show.
Yeah.
And because of all egomaniacal assholes, and I love him, but he did have a streak. Yeah, when you're an alcoholic, there's some shit that comes out. He blackballed her, never talked to her. What did he?
Yeah, she called him up on the phone, had heard that he had already heard, and so she called him up and said, "Hey, look, I want to talk to you about my new show." And then he hung up and literally never talked to her again.
What a dick. And it's not like her show was going to hurt his ratings.
No. I mean, he was a juggernaut. Like, he was untouchable in the ratings.
She just wanted her own damn career out from under his shadow.
Yeah.
And because of that, she was doomed.
Yeah, and it cost her literally everything.
It was so sad.
So awful.
So much of her act was talking about Edgar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he killed himself, it devastated her.
Oh, yeah.
And plus the show, everything kind of came at once.
It was bad. It was a bad... 88 was a very bad year for Joan Rivers.
Yeah, she got screwed. And it took her years to come out of that mess. And I really liked Joan Rivers. I thought she was super funny.
Yeah.
I thought she was incredibly brave. She was a groundbreaking comedian doing stuff that nobody had done,
No, I agreed.
Broke so many glass ceilings. And I just think she got the shaft, man, and it's bullshit.
I would agree. So when Bobcat Goldthwait's agent gave him the script for Hot to Trot, Bobcat wrote on the cover, "Why would I ever do this?" and then sent it back to him. And then the agent sent the script back to Bobcat with a giant $sign written over the title page.
Do you think that really happened?
according to Bobcat, yeah.
Okay, well, if he said it, then I get it.
Yeah. He went to high school with voice actor Tom Kenny. Oh, sorry. Bobcat knew from an early age that he wanted to be a comedian, encouraged by making his friends laugh. He actually went to high school with voice actor Tom Kenny, who would go on to voice SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants! Listen to our SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? I don't think I've ever actually said this out loud. I've literally never seen 1 second of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Really?
I've never watched the show. It came out at a time when I was like in college, and so like I wasn't really watching TV, and then they just kind of passed by me.
Yeah, I don't think I've really seen much either. Maybe an episode or two. Or
it was kind of like Pokemon. Pokemon did the same thing. It came out, and then I was just like, "What the hell is this stuff?"
Yeah, no, I've never seen anything for Pokemon.
I have never felt more like an old man than when Pokemon came out and kids were so excited about it. I was like, I don't understand.
Well, SpongeBob I'd seen a little bit. Maybe a couple episodes, and then, there's all these video games we keep getting for free.
Yes, that's true. I've actually played more video games than I've seen the actual show.
And I'm a big fan of the actor that played Patrick. Dan Fagerberger or whatever. Something Fagerberger. He was on Coach.
Yeah, no, that's...
Fagerman or something? It was
something like that. I don't remember.
Anyway, I loved him on Coach, and because of my love of Coach... With what's his name? Craig T. Nelson. Oh, I even had a Coach hat. So stupid. But because of that, I think I watched a couple episodes of SpongeBob, but it was just too shrill for me.
Yeah.
It's just like those cartoons.
It's funny because there's so many memes on the internet. I know more from the memes than I do anything else. Well, sure. But yeah, I'm sure at some point maybe I'll sit down and watch it. But
I gotta say, what a brilliant conceit, man! A sponge.
Yeah, I know.
And a starfish,
just hanging out, being best friends.
Best friends.
Working at a Krabby Patty.
Krabby Patty, run by an octopus, or squid. No, he's a squid. Squidward.
He's a squid.
His name is Squidward. Right. I don't think Squidward's an octopus.
He's not Octoward.
Maybe. I don't know.
So in 1980, after graduating, Bobcat and Kenny formed a comedy group called The Generic Comics.
Okay, that's clever.
At one point, they saw an ad for an open mic night that featured comedian Barry Crimmins with the moniker Bearcat.
Okay.
So Bobcat and Kenny went to the event and performed under the monikers Bobcat and Tomcat, respectively, as a tribute to Crimmins.
Okay, that's cool. That's fun.
Yeah. In fact, this is a tradition he actually kept up. He was really good friends with Robin Williams when he was doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And they would, whenever they were on a bill together, rather than being credited as themselves, Bobcat Goldthwait would go as Jack Cheese, and Robin Williams would be Marty Fromage.
Yes.
And there were times when they would cameo in each other's movies, and they would use those names.
Yeah.
Like the credits would be Jack Cheese or Marty Fromage.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I saw both those guys live. It was I would have loved to see them starting out.
Yeah, when they were young and raw, and yeah.
Yeah.
Bobcat's theatrical acting debut was in 1984 with Massive Retaliation, a film which appears to be a ripoff of The Shelter, a Twilight Zone episode about families moving into a nuclear fallout shelter when word of an atomic war comes. His first major role was as Zed in Police Academy 2, their first assignment in 1985. And I did not realize that Bobcat was not in the first Police Academy movie.
No, the first one was actually good.
And then they hired Bobcat Goldthwait, and it just went to hell.
Oh, he was awful in it. He was awful.
They were all bad.
They were all bad. Yeah. It was just... That's when his shtick was
really
just
hardcore.
It's like pump it up to 11. He was all fat. It's just really funny. He was just such a schlub back then.
Yeah.
Just a gross little long-haired schlub.
Right.
And, he's actually a very handsome man.
Yeah.
He
is.
Once he got his crap together.
He would reprise the role the next year in Police Academy 3 back in training in 1986. That same year, he appeared in One Crazy Summer, John Cusack, written and directed by Savage Steve Holland.
Listen to our One Crazy Summer episode. And he was so good in that.
So good in that. That one sentence makes me want to watch One Crazy Summer again.
Yeah. Oh, and Booger was so good in that, too.
Yes, and Demi Moore, and Booger and Bobcat were the weird comedians that just happen to have very good careers.
Oh, man, so good.
In 1987, Bobcat appeared in Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
That was so bad. So bad, man.
It wasn't as bad as the one where they went to Moscow.
And they kept having that poor actor, and she was the one.
Yeah.
And it's like It's like, what? You just forget how to yell so we can have that time where you finally yell again in every movie? Come on, damn it.
They were not good. There was like 14 more of them, so I don't...
and Bubba Smith turning cars over and
that guy, the guy with the big bug eyes.
Tackleberger?
Tackleberry.
Tackleberry? Yeah.
Tackleberry.
He died.
He did. Wow, all right.
Most of the people in that movie are dead.
Yeah, except for the one that should be...
Goot? The Gootberg? Why do you want Goot to die?
I'm just kidding. I want to see him in more stuff. I like the Goot.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. That same year, he also appeared in Burglar, co-starring Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, man, they did not know what to do with Whoopi Goldberg.
No. And this was the first time, I think he had second billing. Like, it was his highest billing so far. He also, in 1988, along with Hot to Trot, Bobcat had a small part in Tapeheads, starring John Cusack and Tim Robbins.
Listen to our Tapeheads episode.
This is one of those times where he was credited as Jack Cheese. Yeah.
That's true.
That same year, he also was in Scrooge, starring Bill Murray. Yeah, which at least in that, like, he started normal, and then it made sense for him to become the weird character.
Yeah. Well, he was really good in that.
He was great in it. I love Scrooge.
Yeah.
Bobcat would write, star, and make his feature directing debut in 1991 with Shakes the Clown, a movie that did not do well at the box office, but has become a cult classic.
I'm okay with Shakes. I'm not a lover of Shakes. I like it.
The funny thing is, I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, really?
I thought I had, and then I looked more into it, and I was like, no, I definitely don't think I've... I always think of Quick Change when I think of Shakes the Clown for some reason.
No, I get it.
And I've definitely seen Quick Change.
I think I appreciated Shakes more after I saw World's Greatest Dad.
Okay.
Because it's like, okay, this is who he is.
You get more of what he's doing as a director.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is trolling us.
I mean, yes.
Well, not necessarily trolling us, but he's telling stories that aren't normally told in a very interesting way.
Right. He has written and directed a number of films since then, but not for a while. It took 15 years off. He wrote and directed Sleeping Dogs Lie in 2006.
About bestiality.
About a woman admitting to her fiance that she slept with a dog in college. Which again, I don't think I've seen it. I'm pretty sure that enough people talked about it when it came out that I thought I'd seen it, but
I've seen it. I do not remember it.
Yeah. World's Greatest Dad in 2009.
Absolutely love that movie.
Robin Williams, absolutely amazing movie about taking credit for your dead son's writing.
Oh my God.
It was bad.
Yeah. Or didn't he make his son a better his?
Yeah, he essentially wrote this. He essentially was making people think. Yeah, making people think that he was this brilliant when the kid was just an asshole.
Yeah,
and he was made him people. Oh my God, they loved him, and then when it finally came out, it's such a good movie.
Amazing, and probably Robin Williams' best performance ever.
Yeah, I would agree. Anytime
you rip the shtick from Williams,
right,
it shows what a good actor he is. It's like when they would let him go, and we talked about this on Baron Munchausen, it doesn't work for me. The thing is, as much as I love improv, and if I could do improv as a job, I would more than be happy to do that for the rest of my life. His improv drove me insane because it all turned into the same mishmash. Oh, yes, Shakespeare.
Right. Okay. Yes. He also wrote and directed God Bless America in 2011.
That was really good too.
That was with the other Murray brother.
Yeah.
Whose name I don't. Kevin? No. He also wrote and directed Willow Creek in 2013.
What was that?
It was a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen it. It's one of those that I read about it and I was like, okay, now I'm kind of curious.
Looks like I'm going to have to do some.
Yeah,
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Bobcatin. He also directed some documentaries, Windy City Heat in 2003, a long-form prank on a guy who was told he was going to be famous.
Weird. I think
it was super weird.
Yeah.
And then also Call Me Lucky in 2015 about Barry Crimmins, where he got the name Bobcat because of the whole Bearcat thing.
I would like to see that. I'm interested.
I don't know anything about Barry Crimmins, so I feel like I should watch that.
Sure.
Apparently he was one of those stand-ups that never made it big, but was huge.
Everybody
to all
loved
the
him.
stand-ups. Yeah.
There's always that dude that is the best stand-up ever, but just doesn't give an F. So he just
and it's not. It's like his stuff is so advanced that it's like people aren't going to get it, but the comedians get it because they're almost to that level.
He's what they call a comedian's comedian, Adam.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Bobcat can most recently be heard voicing characters in The Patrick Star Show.
I don't know what that is.
It's Patrick Star is from SpongeBob SquarePants. It's the offshoot with Bill Faberbacky. Fabergé.
It was Bill. You're right.
Yeah, Bill Faberbacky. I think.
Okay. I think you're right.
Yeah. Dabney Coleman was cast as Walter Sawyer.
Well, Dabney Coleman. Yeah.
Oh my God, those teeth.
And those glasses.
And the glasses.
It was those women's
giant
glasses.
Yeah.
My mom had those glasses in the 80s.
Throughout his career, Coleman appeared in over 175 films and television programs and received awards for both comedic and dramatic performances.
He's one of those guys that can do anything. And he was one of those guys that was pigeonholed as a bad guy because he did such a great job in 9 to 5.
Right.
But then when you see him in Cloak and Dagger, you're like, oh my God, he's just the greatest guy ever.
Right.
And then TV, and then this, and then that. And then finally, when he got old and was on like Boardwalk Empire and everything, that's when people were like, he's one of the greatest actors that ever lived.
Right. All right, well then I don't need to go through the stuff because you just did.
I just love him. I'm sorry, I get excited because I love Dabney Coleman.
He won a Golden Globe in 1987 for Best Actor in a Comedy for the Slap Maxwell story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sort of remember that?
I believe it was a sitcom. It might have been a miniseries, but anyway. He won a Golden Globe for it. He won an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a miniseries or a special for Sworn to Silence.
Okay.
And in 2010 and 2011, he won Outstanding Performance by an Ensemble in a drama series for Boardwalk Empire.
That's funny. He went from comedy to drama.
To the dramas. Coleman made his feature film debut in The Slender Thread in 1965, starring Anne Bancroft and Sidney Poitier. That was Sidney Pollack's directorial debut.
Oh, I love Sidney Pollack.
That's so good.
Such a great actor, such a great director. He played Dustin Hoffman's agent in Tootsie.
Yeah. Sidney Pollack? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did he direct Tootsie?
I think he did direct Tootsie.
Yes. Tootsie.
When we do our Tootsie episode.
Oh my God. We're never doing a Tootsie episode because you won't stop saying Tootsie.
Listen to me here. I will tell you something. You do not talk to me that way.
Coleman's early roles did not include his signature mustache. He grew that in 1973 and then wore it for over 50 years.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's weird. If you ever see something with him without the mustache, it's weird.
Well, it's like Tom Selleck. When you ever see Selleck without the mustache.
It's like, what is going on? I don't understand.
It's uncomfortable.
It's like, who are you? You're not my father.
You're an imposter.
Coleman was mostly a TV actor with some supporting roles in movies like The Towering Inferno in 1974.
Listen to our Disasters episode about disaster movies.
Early episode. It's so good, though. You should listen to it.
It is. It's immersive.
He was in Midway in 1976, big epic war movie.
Love that movie.
Also in Viva Knievel in 1977.
Oh, my God. It's so crazy that nobody remembers Evel Knievel, and he was the hottest, biggest thing.
Yeah.
For like 10 years. His jumps, his like Snake Canyon jump, those were
insane.
They were like touchstone events, man.
They were huge. It was event TV.
And he effed every single one. He never, ever succeeded. He always
broke
crashed.
Every bone in his body twice.
We only tuned in to see how bad he was going to crash and what he was going to break. Yeah.
And maybe he'll die.
Yeah. Oh, God, The Simpsons has such a great
we easily could have included Viva Knievel in the June Doom month.
Well, we have something for next year.
He was also in North Dallas 40 in 1979.
Really enjoyed that movie. That's Nick Nolte and... Oh, man, I forget. He's like a country singer, but they play football players.
Yeah.
But it's like a kind of a dark comedy about how effed up it is to be an aging football player.
And aren't they? It's like AA football or something. Like it's not.
No, I think it's real.
Is it
football.
pro?
Yeah,
like real football.
Yeah, I don't know if they have
pro
double
football.
A.
They do.
They have double A football.
They have regional. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you don't hear about them as much as like the baseball.
It's big in like Texas and stuff because football's life.
Well, no, I think it was Dallas Cowboys. It was North Dallas 40.
I've never seen it.
Or the Cody's Dallas
North Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, the Dallas Northies or whatever. But a very interesting and fairly scathing film about
about
the NFL.
football. Yeah, and how bad it was, and nobody listened.
Nope.
His guest role in Mary Hartman in 1976, which was supposed to be only 6 episodes, turned into becoming a regular cast member.
I loved when that happened. There was like this time where people demanded more, and people demanded more, and they listened.
The producers would listen. Yeah.
Well, let's put them on.
Why not? Well, this was back in the day when they would make an episode and it would literally air in 4 days rather than like, let's do everything and wait 4 years.
Sometimes they demanded less, like Cousin Oliver on
Yeah.
the Brady Bunch.
Yeah. He parlayed that role into the spinoff Forever Fernwood, which ran in syndication for 2 seasons.
I also think that Fernwood Tonight was an offshoot of...
I believe it was
Mary
the second.
Hartman, Mary Hartman.
Yeah.
That was such a brilliant show.
Dabney Coleman's big break came in 1980. And I'm going to say Quote's big break because obviously he had a very good career going.
Yeah, but he was the guy you recognized, but you didn't really know who he was.
Right.
He would show up in a lot of stuff, and he was the guy, like, if you saw him on the street, you'd be like, did we go to school together?
Yeah. 1980 was a big year for Coleman, appearing in 5 movies. Nothing Personal with Suzanne Summers and Donald Sutherland.
Okay.
Yeah. How to Beat the High Cost of Living, starring Susan St. James, Jane Curtin, and Jessica Lange.
That was an interesting movie, if I remember correctly.
It was about the 70s. I remember the cover because they were all like naked inside of a big barrel.
I think they were thieves?
No, it was about. Well, I mean, maybe it might have turned into that, but it was about after the recession ended in the 70s and how was just broke as hell.
Yeah.
But it might have turned into thieves.
But I think the 3 women started robbing. I don't know. It's been a long time.
He was also in Melvin and Howard, directed by Jonathan Demme.
Yeah.
We've talked about this movie about 1 billion times.
Yeah, about it's pretty much determined it was a myth.
Yeah, Howard Hughes supposedly left a bunch of money to some guy that he gave a ride to or gave him a ride or something.
He was in Vegas.
Yeah.
He was walking down the street. He was thumbing, and this guy, Melvin, picks him up.
Like, hey, I'll give you a ride.
Yeah.
And he left him like $4 million or something.
It is based on a true story.
Yeah, I don't believe that Howard Hughes would just be hitchhiking. He was a germaphobe. He wore tissue boxes on his feet, for the love of God.
That was
He
later.
peed in jars.
That was later, but yes.
He was always secretly peeing in jars.
I watched Leo DiCaprio in a room full of pee jars.
I saw The Aviator.
Yeah.
I know. He had long fingernails.
Jason Robards played Howard Hughes, and he was really great. And I think that was Mary Steenburgen's either first film or her first big film.
Yeah, that sounds right, actually.
She might have been nominated for that, too. She was great.
I've heard really good things about it. I still haven't watched it, but I've heard really good things. He was also in Pray TV, a spoof of televangelism.
Nice.
Which I believe was his first, top billing credit.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And then also his big break, 9 to 5, with Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton, which he said led to more opportunities.
Oh, my God, I love that movie so much. That opened up the movies for me. The girls were so supportive of me. They included me in everything. They were on a whole different level than I was at the time, but they were very sensitive about that and made sure that I was included in every publicity shot and tour. All 3 of them insisted, "Where's Dabney? Get him in here." They're all 3 unique and wonderful ladies. All 3 of them.
Man, I just want to sit down with Dabney Coleman and have dinner. He just seems like he was such a nice guy to hang out with.
You have to dig him up.
Well,
It won't be a very fun dinner. I'm saying. It'll be a good one.
It'll be a very quiet dinner.
Oh, my God.
9 to 5 did establish Coleman as a comic relief villain, which he put to good use in The Muppets Take Manhattan in 1984.
Oh, yeah.
The satirical TV miniseries Fresno in 1986.
Yeah. God, I kind of remember that.
I'm pretty sure that you can find it on YouTube, but it was just a total spoof of all those rich family soap operas.
We need to talk to our friend Jana. I'm sure she's seen Fresno.
Oh, I'm sure.
Her family's from Fresno.
Yeah. I had to, to be honest, I haven't spent a lot of time in Fresno, but the time I've spent there, I really enjoyed it.
Fresno's fine. There's a lot of weirdos in Fresno.
They have a big art scene, and they're weird.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, they're weird.
A lot of cats. We got a cat from Fresno.
Oh, that's right. She is from Fresno.
The Gen X cat is a Fresno cat. That's why she's so weird.
He was also in a Dragnet, playing a villain, the bad guy, in 1987 with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. Listen to her. No, we didn't do Dragnet.
We didn't do Dragnet.
Not yet. Didn't he have a weird accent in that, too?
Probably.
A lot of times he did weird acting.
Yeah.
There's one where he talked like this. I don't know which one it is.
Nothing like the next movie we're covering, Jim.
Oh, Jesus. I got the shivers thinking about Nothing But Trouble.
He was also the bad guy in Clifford in 1994, starring Martin Short as a child.
That movie is so great. Did we do that movie?
I think we did.
I know we watched it.
I think we watched it as part of the Steve Martin Short month.
I don't know. I hope we did. Maybe we will look at. We'll have to look
Oh
into
my God,
it.
I don't know. We've done so many episodes, man.
But Clifford is the weirdest effing movie. Charles Grodin and Martin Short are gold together.
Oh my God.
And Martin Short playing a 10-year-old boy is the creepiest and most unsettling thing.
Weird.
There's that clip that's always playing. Act like a normal boy. Can you act like a normal boy for 5 seconds?
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm making faces for those who can't see. But oh my God, if you've not seen Clifford, do yourself a favor.
It is. It would actually be a pretty good double feature with Hot to Trot.
Yeah.
They're both just kind of weird, and
Yeah.
you're left wondering, why did they make this?
There's something weirdly sinister about
Oh my God.
Clifford that is.
Martin Short is so cruel.
It's a very unsettling film, but my God.
It's worth a watch, for sure. So Dabney Coleman was also, if you want to call the villain in You've Got Mail in 1997, not really a villain in that movie, but I think he was like a boss that was an asshole.
I remember so little about that movie.
I just remember the AOL, You've Got Mail. Yes. That's it. That's all I know. He also appeared in some classic Gen X movies like Tootsie in 1982.
Tootsie, yeah.
Wasn't he the director, the soap opera director?
was
He was trying to sleep with Tootsie.
I'm going to tell you something. You will not bully me, sir. You will not bully me at all. I'll tell you, sir.
He was also in War Games in 1983, which we also covered,
Shall we play a game?
which he was so good in that.
Oh, great.
His character arc in that movie was incredible.
Incredible. And my favorite Dabney Coleman roles are the ambiguous asshole roles where he's kind of an asshole, but then he comes around and he's just
Yeah.
kind of a human being.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, you actually are a normal person. All right. Yeah.
Because when he goes full a-hole, it's great, but
Oh,
it's uncomfortable. He's so good at it
right.
that you
right.
hate him.
Right.
But because of that, he can straddle these, these roles, which are kind of more of a mix between good guy, bad guy.
Right. He was also in Cloak and Dagger in 1984.
Such a guilty pleasure.
Such a great movie.
Such a weird movie, too. Again.
I love that. It was one of those that was on all the time, and I loved it.
But such a weird premise about a little boy and his little action figure, and his action figure is his imaginary friend.
Yeah,
And
who
then-
looks just like his father.
Exactly, which is very clever.
Yeah.
And which the Lego movie ripped off completely. And that weird little girl who was his best friend.
She's so creepy.
She's so good, though.
so creepy.
That was such a... We're going to definitely...
And the
have
two
to cover
that we
movie.
have, of course, we're going to cover it. Yeah. Also, he was in The Man with One Red Shoe in 1985 with Tom Hanks.
That was when they did not know what to do with Tom
No,
Hanks.
no.
It was a remake of, I
was
believe,
kind
a
of
French film.
Yeah, like a noirish kind of thing.
Yeah, it was one of those mistaken identity
Right. Okay.
comedies where
yeah.
he's like a cellist and they think he's a spy.
Yes.
Yeah, it was not very good, and it was around the time where Tom Hanks just could not catch a break. It was like
Right,
volunteers, and he was hitting. He was not hitting at all.
Right.
And then Philadelphia changed everything. Probably the riskiest move of his career, and it paid
Sure.
off because it was career poison to play gay back then, and to play gay and AIDS.
Right.
To play gay and
To play AIDS? He played AIDS?
and then Denzel Washington. It was such a... Philadelphia is one of those movies, and there are certain art... This is where art really comes in handy for society.
Yeah.
But it was one of those movies that really helped change the perception of AIDS and the way people thought about gay men.
Yeah. Coleman had a long career with his final role being in Yellowstone in 2019.
He was so good in it.
Yeah.
So good.
I think he was playing his dying father or something.
I think he was
He was somebody's dad and was dying.
I think he was... I don't know if he was his dad. I don't remember. I think he was like the governor or something.
It was his character's name was something Jr. So I assumed it was Clint Eastwood, Kevin Costner's dad. I don't know. I've never watched Yellowstone. Jim's the Yellowstone expert.
Yes, expert.
Jim has watched it 14 times since the last time we talked about it.
I am gold-plated Blu-rays.
I'm a little surprised you don't remember. I'm a little surprised.
I've been watching Landman over and over
Oh,
again.
Jesus. No! So sadly, Coleman died at his home in Santa Monica, California on May 16th, 2024, at the age of 92 of cardiac arrest due to dysphagia and heart failure.
Heartbreaking, but the man did excellent work until he died.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
How amazing to be able to do what you love until you die, you know?
Yeah, yeah. He was
the lottery, man.
Love Dabney Coleman.
Yeah.
He's so good in everything he does.
Deserved every bit of success. Earned it, and always seemed fairly humble
Yeah,
and just
very
seemed like a
down
decent
to earth.
dude.
Yeah, just a good guy.
Yeah.
An all-around good guy.
Love to work.
Yeah. Virginia Madsen was cast as Allison Rowe.
Oh, I had such a crush on Virginia Madsen.
She was absolutely gorgeous in this movie. Like, every shot of her, it was like, and granted, I understand it's movie making,
Yeah.
and they make you look better, but God, she was just, every shot, it was like glamour, like beauty shot. It was amazing.
It's amazing to me that Michael Madsen is her brother. It's just
Complete opposite of
do you have
everything I
the
just said.
Same father? Or, not that he's not a handsome man. It's just they just like Beauty and the Beast, baby.
Well, you gonna bark, little doggy, or you gonna bite?
Ooh, come to Rocky City.
Oh, God. Madsen made her film debut at the age of 22 in 1983 with a small part in Class, starring Rob Lowe, Jacqueline Bisset, and Andrew McCarthy.
We've talked about this
We
before.
have talked about this before.
You haven't seen this, right?
Nope.
Yeah, this is about sleeping with your best friend's mom.
Right.
And then I think to get revenge, the other guy sleeps with the other guy's mom. Everybody's banging everybody's mom.
Great.
Nobody's banging Virginia Madsen. Nothing makes sense.
It also featured the debuts of John Cusack, Casey Samashko.
Yeah.
Whew, okay, that's hard. And Lolita Davidovich.
Casey's from 3 O'Clock High.
3 O'Clock High, so good.
Amazing movie. Listen to our 3 O'Clock High episode.
And something I just saw, there was a great episode of Amazing Stories. Do you remember the show
Yes.
Amazing Stories? Where Casey Samajko
was in a Beats bomber, right?
bomber, and he was essentially in the belly thing, and then he
Trapped,
couldn't get out.
yeah.
And then like cartoon wheels, because they had to land, and it was going to kill him. But then cartoon was. It's so funny. I saw one single frame of those cartoon wheels, and all of it just came rushing
Yeah.
back.
Wasn't he? Didn't he draw them? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
cartoonist?
Yeah, because it was like he was going to die, and then they came real. It was such a good episode.
He's a great actor. I think he was in Young Guns, and
Yeah.
he just was one of those guys.
He's so good.
He should have had a bigger career.
Yes.
I mean, he was
Yeah.
a little guy, and it was hard. But
No, but he was good. He was magnetic to watch.
I will tell you, one of my favorite teen comedies is 3 O'Clock High.
Yes.
It's just
Listen to our
brilliant.
3 O'Clock High episode.
If you like the Coen Brothers, if you like that
Yeah.
kinetic energy, that comedy, I'm sure this was an influence on them.
Oh, yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Her breakout role, Virginia Madsen's, came the next year when she played Princess Urulan in Dune, written and directed by David Lynch.
good Lord. Such a mess. But so much,
Yeah.
such a mess. But honestly, to me, so much more entertaining than the new Dune.
I just could not get past that guy's giant eyebrows, man. It freaked me out.
It was great. Oh, wait, in the new one or the old
No,
one?
in the old one.
Oh, the big eyebrows.
This guy
and
with the
zits all over him.
he got the huge, like, the eyebrows that came out literally like 8-10 inches. It was just like, what is that?
And that character actor was in so much stuff as
Yeah.
a weirdo. But man, the thing that was just so off-putting about that movie is so much of it was so much of it was like the telepathic communication.
Right.
So it was just nobody moving their mouths,
Mouth,
but
yeah.
having these really sedate conversations with their very blue eyes and their little things up their nose.
Oh, yeah.
Sting, look, it's a mess, but it's a much more entertaining mess than the Timothy Chalamet Dunes, in my opinion. I just did not like that. I'm not a Dooner anyway, so I'd rather just watch the weird one.
She continued to win parts. She was in Creator in 1985, starring Peter O'Toole. She was also in Fire with Fire in 1986, co-starring Craig Sheffer.
Oh my God, that was such a bad movie. Oh boy, Fire with Fire.
Also in 1986, Modern Girls, co-starring Daphne Zuniga. Slam Dance in 1987, co-starring Tom Hulce and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. She was also in Zombie High in 1987, her first top billing, co-starring Paul Feig and Sherilyn Fenn.
Yeah, Paul Feig became a director.
Yeah, the funny thing is I knew he was an actor, but I literally had never seen him in anything. And I was like, now I'm kind of like, okay.
Yeah, he was like the weirdo best friend in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I met him once. He was a very nice guy.
Great director, Bridesmaids hilarious.
Yeah. In 1988, along with Hot to Trot, she appeared in Mr. North, starring Anthony Edwards.
Ugh.
They're trying to make Anthony Edwards a leading man.
Failed. That movie was awful.
Madsen has gone on record saying that she did Hot to Trot for the money, but she also wanted to make a movie that her sister's kids could watch since she mostly played sexy adult roles.
True.
Yeah.
She played very sexy roles.
She admits the movie was an embarrassment, but she needed the money at the time, and she was not ashamed to take the role.
Hey, why everybody in this movie took it for the money. Nobody was like, I'm doing it for artistic purposes.
Finally, a talking horse movie.
Hey, finally, something to rival Kubrick.
Madsen would start a period of a career of appearing in B movies, unfortunately. Highlander 2, The Quickening in 1991. Caroline at Midnight in 1984, which went straight to video.
Yeah.
Blue Tiger in 94. The Prophecy in 95.
Which I know you hate, but I love.
I haven't seen it in a long time, so I mean...
Well, Christopher Walken is an angel.
Yeah, it's... and The Haunting in 1999. She did appear in some more critically acclaimed films like Candyman in 1992.
Candyman.
Which we covered as well, so listen to that. Ghosts of Mississippi in 1995, directed by Rob Reiner.
She was great in that.
And The Rainmaker in 1997, written and directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
My favorite thing she's ever done. She was so
The
good
Rainmaker?
in that. Yeah.
Nice.
So good. She was also in a movie directed by Dennis Hopper. We talked about it before with Don Johnson and Jennifer Connelly.
Okay.
The Hot Spot that was directed by Dennis Hopper. It's not a great movie. It's like most of Dennis Hopper's direction since Easy Rider, which is kind of an interesting mess.
Right.
But it was like, I remember when it came out, people were like, ooh, because Jennifer Connelly is like naked in it. She's really young and it's really weird. It was just uncomfortable.
Madsen would get the best notices of her career for Sideways, released in 2004. She won 19 awards for her part, as well as being nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, but would lose to Cate Blanchett for The Aviator.
Yeah, that's respectable.
Cate Blanchett was incredible in that movie.
She was playing Kate Hepburn, right?
Correct.
Oh, you old.
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
Oh.
She was so good in that.
She was, but Virginia Madsen was also amazing.
Amazing in Sideways, yeah.
She's just so real and down to earth. That was when I was the revelation of that movie was Jesus, Thomas Hayden Church. You knew.
Yeah, I know.
Watching him on Wings for all these years.
She can most recently be seen in Lola, about a grocery store worker who moonlights as an exotic dancer with a cocaine addiction.
She probably plays the mother of the...
Yeah, she does not play the Lola.
No offense.
No. Cindy Pickett was cast as Victoria Payton. She was the Dabney Coleman's mistress who became the wife, I guess.
Yeah.
They didn't really make that very clear at the beginning of how she was... Or maybe that was his mother?
No. His mother died recently and left him... Died unexpectedly.
Right.
Left him the horse and the business, half of the business. And Dabney was effing the mistress before. And then after she died, he's like, oh, we still have to hide it. And that's when Bobcat walks in. He's like, oh, my mom just died.
Yeah. It, again, wasn't very clear.
Well, no. A lot of the movie wasn't very clear.
Pickett is best known for playing Ferris Bueller's mother in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, she's great.
She also had recurring roles on Guiding Light and St. Elsewhere. In 1989, she appeared in Deep Star 6, the underwater horror movie from Sean S. Cunningham.
Yeah.
He directed Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it wasn't a good movie.
It's funny. I remember the cover of it more than anything else, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
There was all these weird underwater, like alien or creature movies around that time.
Yeah.
And weird movies like Event Horizon that were just kind of these esoteric sci-fi things.
Yeah.
And this was just kind of a B-movie underwater thing, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, it's Sean S. Cunningham. It doesn't surprise me. In 1983, she appeared in Son-in-Law as Carla Gugino's mother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the Wheeze.
The Weasel.
Look at old Pauly Shore. His character's name in that is literally Weasel.
Doing the Weasel.
Talk about a like Bobcat Goldthwait, somebody having to do a character for so long.
I don't think that was a character.
I've driven him around for a day. It is definitely a character. She will next be seen in Pellet, which is currently in production.
She's got the weirdest eyes. Like, her eyes never smile. It's
got very dead eyes.
I don't know if dead is the right word, but it's kind of sinister.
Okay.
Maybe dead. I don't know.
Jim Metzler was cast as Boyd Osborne, the assistant to Dabney Coleman, who actually was funny enough, had some really funny parts in it.
He was great.
Because he totally went against type. Like, he was, like, excited for Bobcat Goldthwait and stuff. Like, it was funny.
Well, he respected. Respect's due.
He made some good choices. Metzler made his feature film debut in 1979 with Squeeze Play, directed by Lloyd Kaufman.
I remember that.
It's a baseball movie. I think it was like a baseball sex comedy.
Something like that. Yeah.
He received good reviews for his part in Tex in 1982, based on the S.E. Hinton novel, which was also Tim Hunter's directorial debut.
Yeah, and Matt Dillon was in that. He was a star.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. In 1986, he appeared in River's Edge, also directed by Tim Hunter.
Such a great movie. We're going to be covering that soon.
We are. Sometime in the next couple months, yeah. In 1988, along with Hot to Trot, he appeared in 976 Evil, directed by Robert Englund.
Blech.
It was Robert Englund's directorial debut, and I don't think he directed anything after that.
Yeah, capitalizing on them 976 creeds.
Yeah,
People calling up. God, that's how lonely we were back then. We just call up numbers and spend $20 just to talk to a recording.
Metzler had made a career of appearing in B-movies, such as
Circuitry Man, Waxwork 2, Lost in Time, Plughead Rewired, Circuitry Man 2, Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest, Phantom Town, and Megiddo, The Omega Code 2.
Pretty much, it's a B-movie if it has a colon in the title.
Oh, yeah. These all are colonoscopies.
Yeah. Within the B-movies, he would sprinkle in some critically acclaimed films like LA Confidential in 1997.
He was great in that.
Yep. He was also in The United States of Leland in 2003.
Wow,
So the Ryan Gosling movie.
Yes.
He's now retired at the age of 73.
I'm glad he's still alive.
I want to say that I'm pretty sure he retired in his early 50s. I was just like, I'm done.
All right.
Yeah. I could not figure out what he's doing. It's funny because pictures of him currently show up and he looks amazing. Got long gray hair and a long gray beard. Can't figure out what the hell he's doing, but there's pictures of him online.
Well, maybe he's just living his best life.
Yeah. Tim Kazurinsky is cast as Leonard, the neighbor.
Poor Tim Kazurinsky.
He's most well known for playing Sweet Chuck, the bumbling nerd cop in Police Academy 2, 3, and 4.
Yes, he just has this little voice, and he's just kind of a little guy, and he's just very,
Yeah. What most people don't know, and by most people I'm saying me, is that he wrote and starred in SNL for 4 seasons during the weird non-Lorne Michaels years.
Oh, yeah. I loved Tim Kazurinsky.
No idea.
He was really good. He was a great utility player. He was funny. He was just he's just weird. He doesn't look like a comedy guy. He looks like a banker or something.
Yeah. Like he wants to sell you insurance.
Yes. But he was always solid on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And then, playing a glorified, rip-off of the Rick Moranis part from Ghostbusters.
Right.
Although his glasses were tinier and his hair was bigger.
He would leave SNL in 1984 after reportedly arguing with Dick Ebersol about the creative direction the show was taking.
It's like, it sucks.
Kazurinsky made his feature film debut in 1980 with My Bodyguard.
Oh, I love that movie.
The movie with
Adam Baldwin.
Adam Baldwin, that's right.
And Mr. Mustard, who we forgot whose name is.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah. He was the dad, and then the Harold and Maude lady was the grandmother. She was so good. I was a grandmother. And Adam Baldwin was, he was a complicated boy. He's a guy. Such a good movie. We didn't cover it, did we? We are going to.
We've talked about it about 1 billion times.
Plus, Matt Dillon is just ridiculous as the bully.
Yeah.
And he hires his own bodyguard, and then, there's like a 45-minute fight in the park.
Nice.
It's so good.
After leaving SNL, he adapted David Mamet's play Sexual Perversity in Chicago into the feature film About Last Night, which would be directed by Edward Zwick and star Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, and Jim Belushi.
Such a bad adaptation of that play.
Yeah.
I love that play, but they just took all the substance out of it.
Excuse me. In the 2000s, Kazurinsky wrote for and guest starred in comedy series such as Curb Your Enthusiasm, What About Joan, Still Standing, and According to Jim.
What about Joan? Is that Joan Rivers?
Yeah, I think it was her sitcom in the early 2000s. He can most recently be seen in Bettendorf Talks, a parody show set in Bettendorf, Iowa.
Okay.
It's like weird, I think it's a YouTube thing. Each episode is 15 minutes long.
Well, he looks great. He is a really funny guy. And, the fact that it was a super thankless part.
Oh, my God. It was so thankless.
It's all glasses and hair.
And it was all in that hallway. You don't see him anywhere else but that hallway.
No, he was the Tuttle. He was
yeah. Well, at least Tuttle had other stuff he was doing.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have a party. You going to come to my party?
Barbara Winnery was cast as Denise.
Was she the one that was like, do you want to
tuna sandwich? Or do you
Yes,
want
I think you're right.
white or-
Yes, I think it was the assistant with the incredibly awful scene of him outside and then flipping around in windows and then not like, well, do you have whole wheat or white? Yeah, it's tuna sandwiches. I made them. It's like, just let me in.
Yeah. It was so stupid.
It's my least favorite part of the movie.
It was awful. It's also inexplicably in these bad 80s comedies, they would have their Looney Tunes moments that just came out of nowhere and were not like, look, I understand this is a talking horse movie and we have to spend a certain amount of disbelief, but you don't put in these ridiculous cartoon
rotating
moments.
windows that don't make any sense.
You're making it harder to live in your world.
Winnery is best known for playing Dr. Cathay Martin in 32 episodes of St. Elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Her feature film debut was in 1986 with Hamburger, the Motion Picture.
Okay.
Remember Hamburger, the Motion Picture?
No. It sounds familiar.
You shouldn't. I remember the title, but that's about it. She can most recently be seen in two 2020 movies, The Killing of Two Lovers and The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
Okay.
The Wolf of Snow Hollow actually looked pretty good. I was curious about it.
Okay.
She currently is a studio faculty member at the Acting Place in Los Angeles, California.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like her. She's a very talented young lady.
Yeah, she was fun in this. Mary Gross was cast as Ms. French. Gross appeared on 4 seasons of SNL from 81 to 85. She co-anchored Weekend Update during her run.
Yeah, she was really funny, but she had this voice. She just played a lot of the same kind of characters.
It was really funny because writing the script, I was like, I don't remember who she is. And then the second she showed up on screen, I was like, oh my God, that's her.
Yeah.
Like her voice is so particular.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mary Gross.
She's had a great career appearing in
Club Paradise, Baby Boom, The Couch Trip, Casual Sex, Big Business, Feds, True Beverly Hills, There Goes the Neighborhood, The Santa Claus, Practical Magic, Tremors 3, Back to Perfection, 40 Days and 40 Nights, and A Mighty Wind.
Gross has made a number of TV appearances, including voice work.
Amen, The People Next Door, Billy, Murphy Brown, Animaniacs, The Larry Sanders Show, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, The Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat, The Jeff Foxworthy Show, The Angry Beavers, Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, Hey Arnold, Providence 6 Feet Under, Dharma and Greg, Judging Amy, According to Jim, Malcolm in the Middle, That's So Raven, The New Adventures of Old Christine, Boston Legal, Life, Californication, Proud Puppies, and Raising Hope.
Raising Hope was actually her last role in 2012.
Love that show.
But she is happily retired now at the age of 72.
She was always so great. Club Paradise, awful movie.
So bad.
So many talented people wasted in that movie. She and Andrea Martin played these tourist friends that were being hounded by Rick Moranis. Right. And Eugene Levy and Rick Moranis were trying to get pot the entire time so they could hook up with these broads because they wanted pot. And I just remember her getting really sunburned. She was fun in it, but it's, again, Andrea Martin, a lot of these comedic actors, they had no idea what to do with them.
Yeah. Liz Torres was cast as Bee. She was the maid that came in and vacuumed around Dawn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And admired his penis.
Yes, she did, actually. Torres is best known for her role as Mahalia Sanchez in The John Larroquette Show from 93-96, appearing in 84 episodes.
Yeah. What was he in that show? Did you watch that show?
I don't remember. No. When Night Court ended, John Larroquette was dead to me.
It was, well, I don't blame you. But like at that time, everybody was either like a therapist or a radio show host.
Yeah.
He was probably
I
one of
honestly
those.
don't remember. I don't remember.
All right.
She received 2 Primetime Emmy and Golden Globe Award nominations for her part in the show.
So she was good.
She was also known for her role as Miss Patty in Gilmore Girls, appearing in 79 episodes.
Yeah, that's probably where I remember.
That's what I remember her from, yeah. She most recently can be seen on Lopez versus Lopez, which I believe was just canceled.
Yeah, that was
George
Lopez
and his daughter.
Trini.
Trini?
No,
Trini?
Trini Lopez is somebody completely different.
No, Trini Lopez is not.
Yeah.
No, but his daughter, like Juliet or something.
Something.
Yeah. But it got canceled. I think it ran for like 3 seasons.
Because he and his daughter had absolutely no chemistry.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I never watched
They didn't need the chemistry. It's Lopez versus Lopez.
Right.
It's literally like a 40-episode fight. They're just punching each other the whole time.
I like George Lopez. I think he's very funny.
Yeah. There's also some cameos in Hot to Trot, including Burgess Meredith as Don's dad.
Oh, you got a lazy bastard. You gotta get
Carry on the tradition of talking horses. Your brother won't do it. He's a moron.
He was almost 80 when he voiced Don the horse's dad, and he was uncredited in the part.
Burgess Meredith is another one of those actors that fascinates me because he seemed like he was 80 when he was 20.
Yeah.
And his career spanned forever.
It was like 8 decades.
Yeah. He had the most memorable episodes of Twilight Zone were Burgess Meredith episodes.
Yeah.
And then he did like Grumpy Old Men, and his career turned, and he was just this grumpy old man for like 10 years until he died in his 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, I loved him.
He was so good.
So funny.
Gilbert Gottfried was cast as the dentist. In 1990, Gottfried was nominated. This is a little fun fact about Gilbert Gottfried, and I realize that he just died recently. But in 1990, Gottfried was nominated for the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actor in 3 different movies: The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Problem Child, and Look Who's Talking Too.
He was always the same.
Those 3 movies can make their own June Do month.
Yes. Oh my God. Ford
But
Fairlane.
he did not act. He played that character, and he was cast as that character.
Another guy, super fascinating to me. He was on Howard Stern a lot. They were very good friends. He lived in this tiny little apartment. He didn't ever want to spend money.
Yeah.
He almost died from an appendicitis because he wouldn't go to the hospital. I think Howard Stern was like, you have to go to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
And saved his life. Somebody did. Saved his life because he almost died. But he would go on Howard Stern, and he would constantly do an impersonation of Bela Lugosi.
Oh, yeah.
He was always doing Bela Lugosi. It was weird. He didn't do the voice very much on the show, but he did. Ba-ba-ba-ba. And if you ever hear him talk regularly, he just talks like this.
He sounds, it's weird.
It's crazy how many comedians in the 80s had this affectation.
Yeah.
Had, all of them. That Hickory Dickory Dock, the Ford Fairlane guy.
God.
I
hated Andrew Dice Clay so
me too.
much.
It was all shtick. Like, you had, great comedians like George Carlin and, Eddie Murphy and all these guys doing stuff. But then you just had these shtick comedians that would come out and do their thing. Although, Gilbert Gottfried was a brilliant comedian. And if you ever have a chance to see a documentary movie called The Aristocats, Aristocrats. Sorry, Aristocats is a movie about cartoon cats.
I didn't even catch that.
His telling of that joke is the best of all time, and it's this joke that talks about this family, and they're you're basically pitching a daredevil family to a circus, and then it just turns into this incredibly crass and disgusting thing about incest.
Right,
and poop
it's just how much you can improv, how gross it can be.
But he did it in a way that was so subversive and so effed up, but so funny that he because a lot of it was just like, oh, you're really gross and whatever, but it was meticulous what he did, and it was masterful.
Yeah.
The guy was so good at pushing the boundaries.
He was very funny, very clever.
Yes,
very clever.
And just did not give an F.
Yeah. James Hong was cast as the boss, which, the funny thing is that I don't remember him in this movie.
I don't either.
We just watched it yesterday.
It was a voice over thing, I think.
Maybe?
I don't think he was in it.
No, I think you're right.
I think it was just because
That's
I remember
weird.
his voice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. The same year as Hot to Trot, Hong also appeared in Vice Versa, starring Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage.
Ooh, a switcheroo double do.
The old switcheroo movie. Hong is still making movies at the age of 96.
Hong is one of my favorite actors ever. Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Everything that he did, he's always perfect. Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
The guy is solid. There were a couple of other guys I want to mention. There was Harry Caesar, who he played Gideon Cole. But he was an actor that was in, probably his biggest thing was The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds, and he was just a perennial guy in all those movies. And then there was also, and I love his name, Chino Fats Williams.
Good old Fats.
Big old Fats. He was the guy who talked like this.
Yeah.
You probably remember him most from either The Terminator as the dude in the trash truck.
He just jumps out.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, I'm out.
Here, no we. Yeah. Perfect reaction, too, by the way.
Yeah.
And maybe most remembered from Gen Xers from Weird Science is, she kicked you in the nuts.
Yeah.
Kicked me in the nuts.
He's so good. He's so funny.
Amazing. They're super funny.
He had,
always
he had
like, a
one
cigar.
line in this, and it was so great. He comes up, and Bobcat Goldthwait essentially asks him out because I didn't realize he walks up, and he's just like,
That's my bowling
"That's
night."
my bowling night."
But that's the thing. He would come in with like one or two lines, steal the show, and then that was that.
I just love to think the idea that if he'd asked him for a different night, he probably would have said yes.
Yeah. And I would have liked to see that movie.
Yeah.
Bobcat and Chino
Bobcat and Fats.
on the town.
So Bobcat Goldthwait has said in interviews the way that they got the horse to make it look like he was talking was to smack him in the mouth with a stick before each take.
It just infuriates me, breaks my heart. And how can you like...
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's no, obviously, the Humane Society did not approve of this movie. There's other ways they would make him talk because there's no way. Some of those scenes were long.
Yeah.
And there's no way that they got him to just do it. Like, they had to have put some kind of like peanut butter or something in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Caraway seeds.
Yeah, something that he's like moving around, you
Yeah.
know, trying to get out of his mouth. But
Well, also, you never walk behind a horse or push
Oh my
a
God.
horse from the ass.
so frightening.
Every time they get in the elevator, and this poor horse, man, having to navigate these narrow little areas.
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
They must have him drugged out or something because, you know,
They could probably tranked him up, yeah.
that's what bummed me out was the horse and the way that they treated
poor
this horse.
Yeah. I don't. I know. I think I've said this before, but when I was young, I had a horse step on my foot.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't like didn't crush my toes. It just happened to be the end of my shoe, and I literally could not get the horse to move. I was trapped under this horse for like 20 minutes.
Oh, my
Because he
God.
just stood there. And I was like, I didn't want to hit him on the butt too hard because I was afraid I was going to get kicked.
Yeah.
And then after like 20 minutes, my dad and his friend had wandered off, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. I was freaking out. And then eventually he just kind of shuffled and moved off, and then I was free. That was it.
And you were 35?
Yeah, no, it's 37. I had a horrible fear of horses for a long time after that.
I don't blame you, man. That kind of crap is traumatic.
Yeah.
I grew up around it. My sister was a Olympic class equestrian hunter jumper. Amazing. Hated it as a kid because
Yeah.
I had to go to her stupid horse races, her stupid horse competitions. But she never had to come to my soccer games. Bitter. Yeah, but she was amazing, and
I mean, I don't, you know,
Oh, of course.
I would go see the horses.
I was also horrible at soccer. I was always in the last place team, and I was chasing butterflies. I was never a good soccer player. So, but I took Western lessons for a while.
Oh, yeah?
And was becoming a Western writer.
Yeah.
But it didn't last too long. I don't think my parents were like, we're not having 2 horse people in the
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
It's
Too many horses. Too many
expensive.
horses.
But yeah, my sister was amazing.
Your parents knew that eventually one of them would talk.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, my sister's always tired. Oh, and it had a lot to say.
So I'm sure you're wondering, wait, doesn't this movie feature John Candy as the voice of Don?
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, it does, but it's a very convoluted road to having John Candy in the film.
Let's get in the car and drive it.
All right. The movie was shot in late 86, early 87, with the intention of it being released in the fall of 87.
Okay.
Elliot Gould was the voice of Don, a very far cry from the Academy Award nomination he received in 1969 for Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice.
Ooh, about wife swapping.
Gould recorded all of his lines, and unfortunately, an audience test screening hated the movie.
Well, because he kind of talks like this, and I don't know if it
he
would be
doesn't-
super engaging.
No, I don't. It wouldn't be funny.
Yeah, well, you remember, he's kind of like when he was Ross's dad, he was one of these guys.
Yeah, yeah. The producers blamed Gould and the bad dialogue and hired Andy Breckman to rewrite the horse's half of the script.
Look, man, I can only imagine how horrible this movie would have been with Gould. Because it was not
Yes.
a good movie without him.
No. But I'm sure the horse's dialogue was not good. It wasn't funny. Yeah.
And F you for blaming Elliot Gould. You wrote this crap. You directed him. F you.
Yeah. Breckman started his career writing for David Letterman and contributing sketches to SNL.
All right, good pedigree.
His most famous SNL sketch was White Like Me, where Eddie Murphy disguises himself as a Caucasian for a day.
One of my favorite sketches of all time.
So funny.
So good. I'm buying this newspaper. What are you doing? I'm buying this newspaper. Oh, man, just take it. Take it.
So good.
Revelation.
So good.
I'm applying for a loan. How much do you need,
What do
man?
you mean? Yeah.
We don't need collateral. Just
No,
take it.
just
And look on his face where he's like putting the money. Eddie Murphy, my God.
So spot on.
Yeah.
So spot on. So
and
perfect.
him, tight-assed white dude, doing white face. Holy
so great.
crap. And the ending of that is great. He's like, I got a lot of friends. And I got a lot of white makeup. And it was just like all these black dudes and black women getting like made up.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It was so funny.
So good.
Yeah,
So
one
good.
of the most brilliant sketches ever.
So brilliant. Breckman's film production is not the greatest, unfortunately. He wrote Moving in 1988, starring Richard Pryor.
Oh, they did not know what to do with Richard Pryor.
No, I do remember this movie, kind of.
It was like him and Cicely Tyson, maybe, and they were like...
He had to move for a job or something,
Yeah.
but it was like all the disasters of moving.
cross-country move or something.
I mean, it's, he also wrote Arthur 2 on the Rocks in 1988, starring Dudley Moore.
Oh, God. Nobody wanted that movie. Nobody. Arthur was such a well-put-together, perfect little movie.
Yeah.
And Arthur 2 just ruined it.
Yeah, it was not good. He wrote True Identity in 1991, starring Lenny Henry, a black man who disguises himself as a white man to escape the mob.
He seems to have a little something. Mr. Somebody likes whiteface.
Just dipping back into that well. He also wrote IQ in 1984, starring Tim Robbins, Meg Ryan, and Walter Matthau as Albert Einstein.
I like that movie.
I know I've seen it. I
Yeah.
don't remember anything about it.
It is a sweet movie. It's a weird romantic comedy where Tim Robbins is kind of a dummy, and he loves Meg Ryan, who's a scientist, and he forms a friendship with Albert Einstein, who teaches him not to be a dummy so he can fall in love with Meg Ryan.
Okay.
And-
That works.
Tim Robbins is super sweet.
I
as the
remember
dude,
him being very nice in it and very sweet. Yeah.
And Matthau is great as,
Yes.
I'm Albert Einstein. I'm going to teach you about E equals MC squared.
Breckman also wrote Sergeant Bilko in 1996, starring Steve Martin. That's Jim's favorite Steve Martin movie.
The show Sergeant Bilko starred Phil Silvers, who I love.
Yeah.
Oh, kid. Oh, what you doing, kid? Why you? Don't do that to me, kid. Sergeant Bilko was just so bad. It was another time where they just kept remaking these awful sitcoms with big actors.
Yeah.
Like, just these weird, bad concept things like Down Periscope with Kelsey Grammer and these weird military comedies, and just none of them worked. Although, look, Martin was funny in Sergeant Bilko because Sergeant Bilko is just a con man who works, he's like works in, he was like the requisitions guy who was running a scam or whatever.
Yeah.
So Phil Hartman was probably in it because he was in all those movies as some hard ass.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to watch it again, but
I don't have high hopes.
yeah, we'll put it on the pile.
He also wrote Rat Race in 2001, a film inspired by It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Obviously, Andy Breckman was a fan of that era.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, between Sergeant Bilko and Mad, 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 Mad World,
Just didn't have the talent
to
do as good as those guys.
Now, he may not have done some good movies, maybe some stinkers here and there, but what he did do right was create the TV show Monk in 2002, which ran for 125 episodes over 8 seasons.
I have never seen an episode of Monk. I like Tony Shalhoub. I think the concept is good, but for some reason, I have never seen one episode of Monk.
I dated somebody that was obsessed with the show, so I watched some of it, and it's fine.
I'm
it's
sure.
like a murder, like a mystery show. He's solving crimes and stuff.
Isn't he like a hypochondriac or something?
Yeah, or he's like an OCD and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Funny.
Breckman worked feverishly to write funnier dialogue for Don the Horse, and the producers hired John Candy to do the voice.
Nice.
Ironically, when John Candy got into the recording booth, he didn't find the script very funny and mostly improvised his own lines.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell.
That's just why there's a reference to Burgess Meredith's character Mickey from Rocky at the end of the movie, because Burgess Meredith was in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. You can almost just see John Candy in the booth going like, well, I'm going to use this. Like, what am I going to do?
John, I don't know if you know this, but Burgess is in the movie. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't. Well, that's the thing is I think that he saw him or heard him in the movie because I'm pretty sure that recording session probably lasted 4 hours.
Yeah.
And he just watched the movie and then threw in lines to mimic the horse movie. That's it. Like, he did a brilliant job.
He really did. He really did, because it is so stupid. It is such a stupid, convoluted, idiotic conceit of this talking horse. And the whole thing, too, is like, there's one lineage of horses that can talk, and he and his brother are the last of that lineage.
Yes.
And then,
Well, not anymore, because he's got some white satin.
but they don't ever pay that off, do they?
Well, I mean, you assume. I think. Oh, I don't know,
Sure.
man. There's no.
They didn't tie up any of the loose ends.
Oh no!
It's so complicated.
God, I believe the movie so much until the end. So with a new version of the film completed, they opted to have the film released over Memorial Day weekend in 1988.
Oh God.
Because why not? That's the best time to go see a talking horse movie.
Well, look, in a way, it was counter-programming because you would have big blockbuster Indiana Jones movies, and you wouldn't want to
kick off a summer,
right? And you wouldn't want to counter-program an action movie with an action movie, but if you counter-program an action movie with a comedy,
right.
then people, I would rather see a comedy.
Well,
I can't get into the big movie.
You're totally giving the studio too much credit because they got scared from Rambo 3 and Crocodile Dundee 2, which were opening in that same weekend. So they ended up pushing the release date to August 26th, 88, well over a year after production had completed. So marketing for Hot to Trot featured newspaper advertisements with a promotional 1-800 number that, when called, contained a several-minute recorded message from John Candy as Don the Talking Horse, telling jokes and talking a bit about the film, including the line,
"Hi, I'm Don the Talking Horse. First, how about a couple of jokes?" I called this number.
Yeah.
I did. I called this number. I remember listening to John Candy.
I mean, why wouldn't you? It's an 800 number.
Yeah.
Might as well call it.
It was just it was so weird.
It is super weird. But they probably did it during the recording session. He was like, yeah, I'll do it. Sure, whatever.
I'm pretty sure that the 800 number was a lot more popular than the movie.
Yeah, probably.
Because it was shorter. And you could hang up.
The movie was a complete box office bomb, making $6.4 million against a $9 million budget.
That's not that bad, though. A $3 million loss isn't, it's like...
I'm going to go ahead and say any loss is bad.
Sure, but it's not... This is a dumbass movie. It made up that $3 million on video.
Oh, I'm sure it probably became profitable once it got on
I'm
the
sure
video.
it did. Yeah. But it's like, these little comedies, they're not going to break the studio.
No.
These are just little, write-off movies. These are filler movies to go in between the Supermans and the Indiana Joneses.
Yeah, the temples, yeah. It currently holds a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not fair.
According to... I should have written down some of the IMDb reviews, because, man, there's some people out there that love this movie.
There's every movie.
And I honestly don't know if they're trolls or not. I think some of them are. But
Look, I get it. Look, if I saw this movie as a 6-year-old or 7-year-old, I would have loved it. And it probably would have had a lot more nostalgia sheen on it.
Yeah.
But I saw this movie in college.
Yeah.
And I was appalled and insulted.
I mean, I think I saw this when I was 13, and I was appalled.
But again, how bad are movies in the last 40 years that this is actually not that bad anymore?
No, it's actually fairly competent.
Yeah.
Which is really weird.
It is weird. We've talked about this before. There was such a glut of comedies in the 80s. That was the genre film of the 80s.
Yeah.
So many high concept, crazy comedies, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
There were every week new movies would come out that it just oversaturated, and we got sick of it. But now, years later, watching these filler movies, they're actually pretty good because they had good casts.
Yeah.
And they had, game directors, and as crazy and dumb and whatever they are, things are so much worse now that they're quaint.
Yeah.
They're quaint. This is a quaint little movie now.
Well, when it came out, they thought it was so bad that it was nominated for 5 Razzies, but still managed to lose all of them.
Oh.
It was nominated for Worst Picture, which lost to Cocktail.
So mad. That was so bad.
Worst Actor for Bobcat Goldthwait, who lost to Sylvester Stallone for Rambo 3.
Yeah, what a award.
Yeah, he won.
Yeah, so was bad.
I won it being the worst. Worst Director for Michael Dinner, who lost to both Blake Edwards for Sunset and Stuart Raffel for Mac and Me in a tie.
Mac and Me. Look, Sunset was pretty bad. We're going to cover it.
I've never seen it.
Sunset is Bruce Willis and James Garner.
Okay,
And
now
Bruce Willis.
that sounds more familiar.
Bruce Willis, James Garner plays Wyatt Earp, and Bruce Willis is Tom Mix, the old cowboy actor.
Yeah.
And Garner comes on to the expert advisor, whatever you call it. on
Consultant.
the movie. Thank you, Adam, the consultant. But he and Tom Mix get involved in some crime and have to solve something.
Okay.
It sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
But it's probably another one that ages better. But at the time, it was like, again,
it was like, ugh.
they did not know what to do with Bruce Willis until they got him into Die Hard.
It was also nominated for Worst Screenplay, which also lost to Cocktail. And for Worst New Star for Don the Talking Horse, but lost to Ronald McDonald for his cameo in Mac and Me.
Don the Talking Horse was good.
I agree.
That's bullshit, because his performance was the best that it could be for that movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, it was not annoying, and it could be so easily annoying.
Yeah.
And just get into your brain and you want to kill yourself.
Right.
But he was funny. He was engaging. It was John Candy being John Candy.
Right.
Which is always going to be great. I could listen to... I'd call up that 800 number right now and listen to John Candy tell jokes if it was still around. Ronald McDonald, on the other hand.
I apparently don't remember Ronald McDonald in Mac and Me, so...
Well, it was not like, hi, I'm Ronald McDonald. I'm
Well,
like pulling up in a car and helping them escape in the Burger Mobile.
God, I wish. That would make the movie so much better.
But I think they went to like a McDonald's and...
Well, I mean, it is Mac and Me, so I mean, yeah. And it wasn't the whole movie supposed to be about McDonald's? Or
it was
sponsored by McDonald's?
It was produced by McDonald's.
Right.
It was McDonald's being like, let's get out of the movie business, rip off E.T. with the ugliest, most off-putting creature ever created, and we'll throw a kid in a wheelchair off a cliff. How about that?
So bad.
That's the best thing about Mac and Me.
Well, sorry.
The best thing about Mac and Me is a long-running gag with Paul Rudd. Every time he went on Conan O'Brien's show, he would be like, hey, let's show a clip of his movie.
Yeah,
every time it'd
thing
be
he's
Mac
promoting.
and Me.
Yeah.
And every time it would get him, and he expected it, but then it was gone for a long time.
Yeah.
And then Paul Rudd came to like promote something really serious or something, and then that came on. To the point where even on his travel show, Conan O'Brien Must Go, he sends like a message to like the people of Spain or whatever, and it's the Mac.
It's the Mac and Me thing. That's funny.
It's really funny.
Well, that's all I got for Hot to Trot. I'm surprised by how much I like this movie.
I was too. This was honestly, out of all three of them, this was the one that I thought was going to be the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Because, look, you got Bobcat Goldthwait at the height of doing his shtick that it didn't really run thin for me. He was likable. There was a charm to him. There was a vulnerability and a likability to him in this movie that was... That's the thing, is these movies that were horrible back then, the reason I think that they're perceived as better now is even in these soulless, stupid comedies, the actors had depth.
Right.
And there was still something to it that grounded it or gave you somebody to root for, or there was something that a lot of the comedies that came in like the 2000s and later, they just didn't have.
Yeah.
They were just kind of mean-spirited and...
Yeah. Because, I mean, there was the point right after that whole montage where Bobcat has all the money and he's bought a new car and he's, I'm going to Doucheville and, like, he's whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's the whole sequence with him and Dawn watching movies and just hanging out. And then Dawn being like, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. And he's like, yeah, I had a good time. Like, it was fun.
Hey, he put up with a lot of crap, man. There was a whole... mixed animal orgy party going on. And I don't want to fail to mention the fact that Don ordered a blow-up sex doll horse.
Oh, yeah. A pink kind of unicorn horse with wearing stockings.
Yes.
That the delivery guy just plopped in the middle of the room.
He found some grip and was like, hey, it wasn't a grip because whomever was playing the part had obviously never worked a dolly before.
No.
Or delivered a package.
No.
It was just the most awkward, weird,
off-putting. This is the address I have. This is where I'm leaving it by.
Right here in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm putting it on the dolly weird, and I'm going to walk out weird.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to be in it.
The whole movie was just so bizarre.
If you have an afternoon and a couple of beers,
yeah,
get on Tubi. Somehow, honestly, watching it with the commercials, because the commercials aren't that obtrusive, reminded me of watching it back in the day on like USA Network or something.
It was a nice little nostalgia trip.
Yeah, where you're like flipping down cable and you're like, I
Like,
guess I'll watch a few
this
minutes of
is
this.
fun. Yeah, and the next thing you know, you've watched the entire 2 hours.
And you're like, come on, Dawn, you can win the race.
Dawn?
Dawn? I mean, there was some funny bits in that.
There were some funny bits in that.
But there were also just some ridiculous.
Also, the absolute ridiculousness that he had to run up to the horses and then convince them to peel off.
Yes.
When it's like, he could have just won because he was able to catch all the horses.
Yeah. Well, yes. All the horses in the race were stupid.
Overanalyzing this movie.
Yeah, well, listen to our sister podcast where we break down every scene. It's a 14-hour series on Hot to Trot. Hey, what I'm learning doing this show is that some things deserve a second chance.
Yeah.
And as silly and ridiculous and unbelievably bizarre Hot to Trot is, it was a pleasurable watch. I laughed out loud several times.
It was fun.
And again, man, anything that I get to watch that has John Candy involved. I just do. The last few months with the candy, the sweet candy month of this, I miss him so much.
Yeah.
I watched a few interviews with him recently, and he's just, there's this interview where he's just walking down to, talking to this guy. And during the interview, guy's like, hey, can I have your autograph? He's like, yeah, sure. Just the sweetest human being, man. And one of the most ridiculously gifted comedic and dramatic actors ever. And I've said it 1,000 times, but we were robbed of his third act. It would have been spectacular.
Agreed.
But we still got Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah. I do want to mention Bobcat. One of the funniest things we've ever heard was on a Kevin and Bean Christmas album.
Yeah.
Where Bobcat does essentially like the night before Christmas to a bunch of kids, and it becomes very unhinged and very messed up. But if you can ever find it, just look up Bobcat Christmas Story. It is one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, Kevin and Bean. Put that in there too.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Really funny.
Hey, the guy, he was, like I said, what a talented dude. And so, if you think about, like, the odds and everything for that guy with that affectation to get a film career, just shows you how effed up the 80s were, man.
Yeah, they were. Just ask Joan Rivers.
Oh, poor Joan Rivers. Oh, well. Next week, we're doing the granddaddy of the Doom June.
Yeah, the Doom June.
June.
We're going to be covering Nothing But Trouble. And man, am I excited. I have not seen this in a while. I don't remember disliking this movie. So
I do.
I don't know.
This movie is just a mishmash fever dream for me of weird snippets and visual cues of big, fat, gross, lots of makeup.
Big, fat, gross.
Tweedledee,
really old Dan Aykroyd.
As the judge.
Oh, so old and gross.
Well, maybe this will turn around too and actually
maybe
be a fun movie. We'll have to see. I think with this movie, we've probably covered Chevy Chase more
almost
than anybody.
all. Yeah, between him and John Candy.
Yeah.
Like, it's very close with both of them.
And Steve Martin.
Yeah. Although he's not Nothing But Trouble.
No, but we've
covered him a lot. Yeah.
But I'm very excited for next week. It's going to be a weird one. You're going to have to tune in for that.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, after we had them as allies fighting against us in Afghanistan and
Allies fighting against us?
Shit.
His guest role in is it Marty Hartman? That's not Marty Hartman.
Nope. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, The Wonder Years, already in progress.